It's your deck.
We found a Crackling Doom Mage. He's going to start things off with a Temple of Malice, the one temple we never see.
And 4 main deck copies of Mardu Charm. Not messing around.
Probably trap some people with that.
This is a match. You are a lot more, deck choice agnostic than I am. You sort of, you certainly have preferred styles, but you kind of play whatever, more the best deck than I do, I would say, historically. But you've been on a Mardu kick lately, so this match is right up your alley.
I'm more about best cards in a given situation and trying to find a deck for the card that I feel is really, really good. Like, I feel that Crackling Doom is a really, really, really good Magic card right now.
Last year, you had a lot to do with the building of Jund monsters, and that was just a perception that you really wanted Terminate effects for the Monsters Mirror.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt the Dreadboard was one of the best cards
What's
that
the
was
card?
play.
What's the card that I want? I want Dreadboard.
Yeah.
Because it's good at killing things.
Yeah, most things, yeah. At a cheap cost. It's a really good deal.
It's good at, your opponent probably has things.
Yep.
And it's good at removing them from the table.
That's really all that I want. A Rashasha Death Dealer. Magic can be very simple sometimes.
Game.
Yeah. Kyle down to 19. Windswept Heath found that forest. You saw Temple of Silence on turn number 1. Taylor's got a Plains and now a Boggemes. Let's see what Kyle can put together on his 3rd turn. Grand Prix champion at Grand Prix Cincinnati last year. Don't see him on the Open Series a ton, but he's starting to play a lot more Magic now. There's a Valorous stance. Here comes the Death Dealer. He's in for 2. Taylor's going to go down to 18.
Very interesting here with Joshua. 4 main deck copies of Mardu Charm and Secret of the Way instead of Soulfire Grandmaster. Josip Levitovich, who came in 9th place at Grand Prix Miami, mentioned that Mardu Charm plus Soulfire Grandmaster was a large part of his game plan against slower decks. Yep. You could establish the lock inside the draw step.
What a lock it is. Don't get to see that one a ton, but I know that Osip said he did get to establish that a couple of times, and the opponent almost has no choice but to concede at that point.
Yes, for the Obzon control matchup.
Yep. This is the charm we don't see very much of. We see a lot of Obzon charm, of course. Mardu charm, this is one that players will actually probably run into a lot, and it's probably happened a lot for Joshua this week, and he's going to play a Sorin. A Vampire on the way. It'll be a passing of the turn here in just a moment.
Joshua prepared with our newest sleeves.
I respect that. Gets the cat token out there. Hero's Downfall will take care of the token. Death Dealer will take care of Sorin. Clean up all Unstoppable Joshua. We'll head back Taylor's way. Taylor may be a familiar face for you. Saw him at the Open Series in Philadelphia, and he was playing Angel Stompy, a deck that his good friend Gerard Fabiano designed. And they actually played in a match against each other. Fabiano went on top 16 that tournament. Taylor went on to cash it. And now he's here. Same record as his good buddy Gerard Fabiano. Both of them are 9-1.
Just excited to see this one play out because we have seen very little of this deck.
Mardu is basically non-existent. Here's an Outpost Siege.
And no Butcher of the Horde, which is part of, I think, the consequence of Mardu not being that popular is that Butcher is not a card people are going out of their way to play.
Yep.
Siege Rhino, of course, you're playing that Knobs on decks, and Manus Rider goes into Jeskai decks, but when we do see builds of Mardu, it's less than 50% that we even see Butcher of the Horde in the deck. And if that was a place where, R&D was anticipating that there would be a lot of power there and people will really be drawn to that card, if that's not the case, then you're not going to see a lot of that deck.
Death Dealer going to come across for 4 points of damage and a passing of the turn. Taylor will reveal a Thought Seize. He'll draw a card for the turn. It's a copy of Mardu Charm.
Exciting.
He has an Elspeth in hand. You are excited. The problem here for Kyle last turn is that his 5th land, not only did it enter the battlefield tapped, it was a temple, but he is stuck with a Wingmate Rock in his hand, only 1 source of white mana.
I think that I like firing off the Thoughtseize here because next turn the Mardu Charm is pretty good at tying up at least a good percentage of Kyle's turn.
Yep.
Attack with the 2/1. The 2/1 First Striker blocks and forces a regeneration.
Plus, I'd like to get a good look on what's going on in Kyle's hand.
You may want to clear a Downfall out of there or something along those lines if your big plan here is Elspeth.
He hasn't really done all that much.
Also, what's nice about the Mardu Charm line is he has Wingmate Rock in hand, so he can block with 1 token, untap, attack with the other token, raid is fulfilled, boom shakalaka.
Yeah. Combo deck.
That's a turn. I can understand it's attractive right now to just cast Elspeth, but I think that Joshua can probably squeeze a lot more out of his cards, sequencing it a little bit differently.
I also just don't want to let my Thoughtseize go.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
It's now or never.
2 Wingmate Rots, Valor Stance, and a Hero's Downfall. It's nice to know those are there.
And I like taking Downfall of this hand, hoping to fade white mana next turn. Even if Kyle does draw white mana with the Mardu Charm in your hand, you surprise him inside of combat, and he's going to lose the Death Dealer or not be able to cast the Wingmate Rock that turn. It's one or the other. And that's assuming he draws untapped white mana, which there's not a lot of in the deck.
Yeah, I'm with you in basically everything you just said. Take the Downfall, let your Elspeth stay alive. You don't really care all that much about Valor Stance. Wingmate Rocks he has to draw another white mana for.
Yeah. He has to draw white mana, and even if he does, it has to be untapped, and it's not even the end of the world if that happens.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't draw white mana next turn, he's in a whole load of trouble.
Yep. We'll see what conclusion Joshua Taylor comes to now, however. He's going to take a Wingmate Rock.
Okay. Maybe Joshua's perspective here is that the Elspeth isn't necessarily good enough to win the game. If he's going to lose, it's probably to the Wingmate Rocks anyway, and Elspeth provides no defense.
Boggemes draws a card, I believe, Swamp. Here he comes. And there's a Windswept. Dude, I am a little surprised at the lack of Mardu Charm there.
Yeah, I think what Joshua is doing here is he's going to use the Mardu Charm just to take care of the initial rock token.
Okay.
But now he has a Wingmate Rock with no ability to attack. An Elspeth that doesn't provide a lot of defense in the air. We'll see how this plays out. I think that I stand behind my assessment last turn that I would have taken Hero's Downfall, tried to ambush the Death Dealer inside of combat with Mardu Charm, and plan on raiding your own Wingmate Rot with the leftover token.
Well, we're going to see the Charm be cast.
This is the other line of play that Joshua has. He has to do this now.
Another Mardu Charm and a Seeker of the Way.
So maybe the perspective Joshua has is, with Outpost Siege in play, I'm a huge favorite if the game goes on for a long time. So I can slog through this Downfall and just try to focus on one-for-one trades.
Kills the Death Dealer, leaves the Rock out there. Now here comes damage in the air. Would you prefer to kill the Flyer or the Death Dealer there while the mana's down?
I would have preferred to kill the Flyer because you're about to generate 3 tokens with Elspeth.
You have Elspeth.
You have a lot of chump blocking.
Here's Thoughtseize from as the draw. As with most cases, it seems like with most cases in this format, you're great against the ground. Like every deck is really good against the ground. It seems like every deck is pretty soft to the air.
Yep.
Here's Hero's Downfall. It's going to take care of the Seeker. Valor Stance will be cast on the Rock token. Now Thoughtseize will show Caves.
And because Joshua knew about the Downfall in hand, I think my preference is just attack with the Seeker of the Way first. If you do nothing, it's very unlikely that Kyle will downfall your Seeker of the Way, because why would he downfall to prevent 2 points of damage? Then, post-combat, you get to Thoughtseize, get the Downfall, and then raid your Wingmate Rock, and now you have a pretty huge advantage.
Boggemes will draw a card because now now Joshua's left in a situation where he has the top deck.
Yep.
And I think he put himself in this situation. There's a Warden of the First Tree, where I don't think he should be in this situation.
And Warden's problematic for Joshua now too, because Kyle has the mana available this turn to pump once and then twice, and then has 6 mana next turn. Yep. So now it's not just an issue of finding an answer to Wingmate Rock, he's going to have to find an answer to Warden as well.
Bloodstained Mire, Nomad Outpost. Yeah, now it's a situation where Elspeth won't be able to save him either, I don't think. I think that Josh had the cards to win this game, and I think that he sequenced them poorly.
I think that he's still got a reasonable shot here, because he gets to raid the Wingmate Rock and that stops the worst of it in the air, but the game is still hairy.
Well, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure how he's beating the Warden at this point.
Well, if Kyle goes all the way up with the Warden, then you can Elspeth minus it, and
You have to do a bunch of, wonky blocking now.
you had to chump block once.
Sure.
And he's got a Bramaz token with which to do it. No, sorry,
Yeah, this thing tramples.
Oh, so he has
It's
to do a
trample
lot.
lifelink. He has to do a lot of blocking.
Sure. Yep.
If Kyle's going to activate here, put in a level 2. Level 3 will make it an 8/8. Now, his creatures do have a lot of toughness, so he has the ability to do that. And it certainly is possible for Joshua to still win this game. I think he's made it really difficult on himself, however.
Yep. And also, the game's dragging on for a very long time. Joshua has, no way to gain life unless he can find a way to keep the Waymate Rock. And so Siege Rhino is still a live draw in all of this, too.
It's an 8/8. No, there is no guarantee that Kyle will attack this turn. I guess that's the other aspect. But at the same time, Kyle can assess the board and say, I can attack with both of my creatures because the flyer has to be blocked by something.
Exactly, and Joshua doesn't have the luxury of double blocking the flyer to get it off the table because
Correct.
he's dying to trample with his remaining blockers.
So you're going to see Boggemes take the opportunity to assess the board. And again, if he attacks with his flyer, that has to be blocked because it's a lethal attack. And then the Warden is an 8/8. And so as a result, you remove a flyer from the equation on Joshua's side. And a triple block on Kyle's side will kill the Warden, but it'll also mean that Joshua will lose a decent amount of his stuff.
And it takes a lot of the sting out of your Elspeth because now you can no longer use it to kill the Warden. It's already traded off with a bunch of stuff.
The reason, of course, that the triple block, and you can say that the Bramaz, the token, and and part of the Wingmate Rock will kill the Warden is because the Bramaz will also generate another token.
Yep.
That's a power. So what Kyle may have to do here is just hold steady with the Warden this turn.
If he does that, then he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because Joshua gets to untap, attack with Waymate Rock and gain some life, take care of the Warden via Elspeth, and that's bad news.
Here's an attack. Yep, there's going to be a bunch of blocks. He gets a token, too. Now Kyle will organize the blockers. Kill the 2 high-toughness creatures. And there will be a cat token left over, so Kyle should lose his Warden here. Yep. So he cleared just a lot of stuff out of the way, which isn't bad. But as you mentioned, Siege Rhino is still a decent draw. However, with the Wingmate Rock still being out there, and Sorin being the top card.
Yeah, Soren's a huge one, too.
That's a huge draw. I believe Joshua Taylor may have worked himself out of this. Take a look at a scry. Top card goes to the bottom.
And this Soren is huge because he can plus it. Then Kyle can't put his rock token in front of Waymate Rock. Joshua gains a huge chunk of life.
Yep. You saw Blessed Amar get tapped there for mana thanks to the Euroborg that's in play on Taylor's side.
Joshua doesn't even necessarily have to send in his tokens if he wants to. I
No.
thought going into this he may have to just to gain enough life, but now he can just say, all right, I'll gain 1 from the Waymate Rock trigger, and it looks like he is attacking. It's fine either way. It's
basically a
it's
freebie.
close.
Yep.
But Joshua didn't even necessarily have to make that attack.
He gains so much life on this attack that
Yep.
Kyle might be drawing dead at this point now.
And Joshua still has Elspeth in the chamber.
Yeah.
On top of Soren in play, Kyle can't generate enough power to touch it. And Outpost Siege is still doing its thing.
Yep.
I mean, Joshua has a huge resource advantage at this point.
It got hairy there for a little bit.
Yep.
Outpost Siege generates such a large advantage, however. The rock token's going to go after Sorin. Now there's a Death Dealer. Kyle able to tap a Plains for that because Urborg's in play. Taylor will draw Mardu Charm off the Siege, Nomad Outpost for the turn.
And Mardu Charm now to check the token.
Yep. Makes it even harder. If he has a land that enters the battlefield untapped, he can do Mardu Charm and Elspeth in the same turn, but it's just a Nomad Outpost. Soren's going to go up. Here's an attack. He'll get a bunch of life from this.
Yeah, this should be another 5 life, 4 from the Waymate Rock damage, and then 1 from the trigger.
There's the Mardu Charm to take care of the rock token. Pass the turn back rather confidently, as he should. Death Dealer is going to go after that. It'd be a pretty quick chump block. There should be some life gain here for Taylor, too, because Soren works on offense and defense as far as life gain is concerned. There's the Fleece Main Lion.
And now Elspeth. If it wasn't going to be a backbreaker before.
It should be now. It gets the gum up the works on the ground. Gets to work in combination with Wingmate Rock, too.
I'll say this about Joshua's deck. He's got a lot of game against Dragonlord Ojutai. That's the type of card you're gunning for here. 4 copies of Mardu Charm, 4 copies of Crackling Doom, 3 copies of Hero's Downfall.
That's a lot of game against that card.
4 copies of Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
If that's a card you think is going to be all over the place, Joshua has definitely come prepared.
Well, given that it was sold out coming into the weekend, yeah, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Swap for the turn.
And Mardu Charm actually kind of works 2 different ways.
Soren's going to make a vampire. There's an attack. Another outpost siege. Now here's an Elspeth. A little bit of mismanagement there on the Elspeth, just kind of the sequencing. He missed out on some life with the Wingmate Rock there. Because he's going to make some soldiers now. Not going to end up mattering too much because Kyle can't win at this point. But there will be games where that is a thing that does matter, where those life points are relevant.
Yep.
So we don't want him to miss out on that in the future. Either way, Joshua Taylor's going to win game number 1 here over Kyle Boggemes. Mardu midrange up a game over Abzan aggro as we turn our attention to the sideboard. We will take a look at Kyle's to begin things. He has 2 copies of Den Protector, 2 Duress, 3 Thoughtseize, 2 Elspeth, 2 Drowned in Sorrow, 3 Alternate Price, and a Valorous Stance.
So I definitely want just more cards for attrition battle. I think the discard spells are pretty good to that end. The 2 copies of Den Protector seem excellent. I think the 2 Elspeths are very good, and the extra copy of Valorous Stance as a way to protect himself or kill some of Joshua's larger threats.
What do we see on Joshua's side?
2 Duress, 2 Utter End, 2 Read the Bones, a Drown in Sorrow, 2 copies of Glare of Heresy, an Outpost Siege, 2 Wingmate Rock, a Brimaz, a Bile Blight, and End Hostilities. I like End Hostilities, Bile Blight, Brimaz, going up to the full playset of Wingmate Rocks, and the 2 copies of Glare of Heresy.
We'll talk about our spring collection because Joshua Taylor's using some sweet sleeves. It's the Kitty Cat, which you can now get along with the playmat and dice bags.
Yeah, you see our April, May, and June game night tokens here in playmat form with the kitten, the bee, and the bunny, and the Delver of Squeakrits, all available on card sleeves, playmats, and dice bags. StarCityGames.com/creature collection. You can order your items today, or just head over to the dealer booth at any of our opens or any Grand Prix at which we are vending.
Dude, you made that super easy.
I'm getting a little bit of a rhythm here with Squeakrits. It was a bit of a stumble there before.
You made it really easy. I'm really
You
impressed.
have to sort of blur the syllables together a little bit. If you try to enunciate, you get tripped up. That's what I found yesterday.
Okay. I'm willing to believe you. Since you're the one who has to say it and I don't. Best part of the job.
And I have a sort of affected pronunciation of certain words, so it's something that I have to train myself with a little bit. But
Gotcha. Delver Squeakrits is pretty popular this weekend too, by the way. A lot of people are talking on social media. They want to get that old
seen
boy.
some posts.
Yeah, they want to get the old boy.
Likes on the Star City Games Facebook page.
You can follow that today. That's good work. That's good work. You say the Facebook page. You want people to go there. Smart. We need to get a thing for that.
Full integration.
We need to get a thing for that. We don't have one of those. That's just a bad job by us.
Yeah.
Bad job by us here in the booth. But you know what? We'll make sure that we'll get you yours for that idea.
Thanks.
No problem. That's why I'm here. I'm here for you.
I
I'm here for you. We're a team. I'm here for you. I will apologize to Joshua. My mistake here with the Wingmate Rockets. You gain life, 1 life for each attacking creature, not each creature you have. So playing the Elspeth post-combat,
Same thing.
perfectly fine. My apologies. I'd say it's early, but it's not. It's just an inexcusable mistake.
It's early-ish.
It's 10:30. That's not early. That's just it's late as far as I'm concerned. Joshua Taylor, I'm sorry. You're up a game with a sweet deck. I wonder how many people he's caught off guard with Mardu Charm.
Probably
with the
quite a few.
creatures. Yeah, because
Probably quite a few.
that's not a card anyone plays. So that's probably been
See
really
in
good
the
for him.
sideboard a little bit, some Mardu decks, but
You don't see 4 copies of that card in any
4 in
deck.
the main is a lot. And this is also the same tournament where Heartland the Fear has 4 copies of Jeskai Charm in his main deck.
They're coming back.
Although a little bit less of a surprise, both in terms of how frequently the card shows up, and also what are the implications if you're not playing around it. Mardu Charm, if you're not playing around it, is a disaster.
I would get taken by surprise by Jeskai Charm, I think, in this tournament. Because the Jeskai decks just haven't had it for a really long time, or it's been like a one of. You know, so if Harlan were to cast 1, I'd be like, okay, that part of the game's over with, and then I get blown up by the second one or something. I wouldn't be surprised if he has stories to tell about how good that card's been for him this weekend.
But Mardu Charm seems like a card you can see a little bit of an uptick in. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of these Mardu decks. But if you want a Crackling Doom already, which if people are playing Foul Tongue Invocation just for a 3-mana Edict, then there's an argument Crackling Doom's a card people should be trying to go out of their way to play. Mardu Charm does do some work against that deck. You can kill Dragon Lord Ojutai with it if they attack. Also, if they're not cooperating, you can use it as a discard spell, which is a pretty powerful out to have against a control deck. So I don't know if I'm necessarily predicting 4x Mardu Charm all over the place going forward, but as a response to Esper Dragons, it's a card that makes some sense.
Yeah. I like it. It also makes your deck good against Foul Tongue Invocation.
That's another factor, yes.
Make some creatures, sacrifice one of my stupid tokens. 4 damage is a pretty good sweet spot in the format. You don't get to kill Siege Rhino, unfortunately, but we can't have everything. Kind of sad that Roast doesn't see more play. Everyone was really excited about that card when it came out.
It's definitely great for mono red decks. Just most decks have access to better removal spells, more flexible removal spells. Mono red is so desperate for answers to Siege Rhino and for Courser Crufix and a couple other cards that it is exciting on its own, but for a deck like, you know, Jeskai, for example, you already had Valorous Stance, which kills a lot of the same stuff that Roast does, kills plenty of stuff that Roast doesn't, and has other utility besides, and is an instant.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good for us who are, you know, rooting around in the trash can trying to find ways to kill a Siege Rhino, like yours truly. But
you're home away from home.
Exactly. But most other decks have better options in terms of flexible removal spells.
Kyle going to take a mulligan. Joshua going to look at his opening hand, consider some things he may keep. It was a very fast mulligan for Kyle, however. I like rooting around in the trash can.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You would not believe some of the cards I played or nearly played.
I would believe the cards that you have played. I'm not sure I would believe the cards that you've nearly played in your red decks.
So the Team Constructed Pro Tour, the Ravnica Team Constructed Pro Tour.
Pro Tour Charleston.
I was playing a Rakdos deck.
Good strategy.
Needed some more action in the sideboard for the Zoo matchup. My teammate, Adam Horvath, felt that he really needed Seal of Doom, which was the most obvious card to sideboard,
Okay.
to handle the Watch Wolf decks.
Yes.
So I nearly registered, did not, but nearly registered Torpid Moloch.
That's 1 red, 3/2 defender, sacrifice 3 lands if it can attack.
Yep.
Bring her up. Bring up. Oh, yes.
So this was nearly in the sideboard of my deck at the Pro Tour.
Ooh, daddy.
It is. I mean, you are paying a big cost. But hey, you got to block a Watch Wolf, right? And this does it.
Not sure that you need to. Here's a thought seed.
Well, I thought I needed to. How does that make sense?
That makes a little more sense.
Oof, look at that doozy.
Kyle's hand does not have a Torpid Moloch in it.
That looks like a card straight out of Homelands. I mean, that's just... Well, yeah, the Lightning Bolt wasn't legal, and Watch Wolf was big, and, you know, whatever. So, just saying.
Death Dealer here for Kyle since he knew it was on top of the temple. Tasker was taken from the Thoughtseize. Kyle has a couple of removal spells left in his hand. Moloch didn't even see play in that limited format.
No.
It was really bad.
No. Just saying. You gotta celebrate every part of the card pool.
I can appreciate you really just looking at everything objectively to try to find the best cards.
And hey, it wouldn't have happened if my teammate just let me have Seal of Doom.
That's true. Here comes the Death Dealer for 4. Kyle giving some beatdowns. There is a Plains. Here is a Downfall. Bye-bye Death Dealer. Kyle untap and take a draw. Someone's missing white mana.
On top of that, Kyle had a very reactive hand after he got hit with that Thoughtseize, which is good news for Joshua because if these two decks are just sitting around making their land drops, Joshua's is quite a bit better.
And Joshua going to make a bat. Hero's Downfall will take care of that. Boggemes will draw. Santham Citadel is the white mana, pass the turn back. Joshua with his vampire token might be coming into the red zone here. Does have a Wingmate Rock in hand. There's the red mana. There's a Wingmate Rock. Raid has been satisfied. Boggemes will draw.
And Joshua's deck sideboards into a full 4 copies of Wingmate Rock, and this card has been an Obzon killer, and specifically an Obzon aggro killer since the jump point. Now, this is the best card, or among the best cards in the format, if you're looking to prey on this deck specifically.
It's one of the last cards this deck wants to play against.
Super good against removal spells in general, super good against Elspeth.
Valor Stance took care of the original Rock, but its friend is still beaten down along with Tom Ross. Taylor will pass the turn back with a Crackling Doom at the ready. It might be F2 over there. There's that offensive. That thing's dying.
Now we get to your stage of the game where the Crackling Dooms finish off the job.
Yep. Get that thing out of here. Take a draw. Vermaz was the draw. In for 5. There's a Valor Stance to take care of the Rock token. 2 damage will hit. A land. A Vermaz, a passing of the turn. Boggemes is going to need a good draw step. Let's see what he finds. It's a Temple. It's not a great draw. Top card, Kyle's going to think about here for a moment. He's going to need a string of cards. That is going to be pretty insane to get
I don't know
back.
if he's going to get a string of cards because we have 6 coming across here and Crackling Doom in hand.
Yep. Kyle Boggemes is doomed. This game is over, as is this match. Joshua Taylor's going to win this game and match here over Kyle Boggemes. 2-0. Mardu mid-range. 10-1. Let's get him in the sideboard, kids.
I think this deck's got a pretty good matchup against creature decks. I'm going to throw that out there. It's nothing but hard to kill threats and removal spells. And because Esper Dragons is the deck of choice right now in terms of control decks, a lot of these cards that look like they're anti-beatdown measures do have functionality. That's a place where